This is a gang tradition from our homeworld. The hand of traitors and fools were tattooed red by their families to show them as death-marked, a sign that no gang or family would tolerate grave failure, but that the condemned still had labor to perform before they were allowed to die.
So which are you, traitor or fool?
Both. There are many battle cries, rallying calls, and spiteful remarks uttered by the enemies of his Imperium. Spoutings of madmen, contemptuous warlords and renegades of the Emperor's light. Though there is one mantra repeated by heretics and pawns of chaos, which shall live in infamy forevermore in the annals of human history. Attributed to an Astartes of immense martial prowess from a damned legion of criminals and murderers. Death to the false Emperor, the cursed utterance of Jago Sevatarian, first captain of the 8th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Night Lords. Jago Sevatarian was born on the homeworld of Primarch Conrad Curze, Nostromo, living within Nostromo Quintus on the city's edge. As a child, Jago harbored psychic powers. With the ascension of the planet's Night Haunter, the Night Lord's Legion would recruit Sevatarian into the 8th Legion. Rising quickly within the Legion's ranks, Jago would become a swift and deadly warrior. Elevated to the first captain of the Legion and officer of the inner circle of the Legion's captains, the Chiroptera, Sevatarian, also known as Sevatar, would be regarded throughout the legions of the Adeptus Astartes as one of its single most deadly combatants. Wielding the chain glaive, Night's Whisper, Sevatar would be regarded alike in martial prowess to Seneschal Corswain of the Dark Angels and First Captains Abaddon of the Lunar Wolves, Ralderon of the Blood Angels, and Sigismund of the Imperial Fists. Suppressing his psychic powers, his secret would not remain concealed from his Primarch. Curze would not reveal Jago's secret to his Legion, possibly due to Sevatarian's calming influence over him, which proved invaluable during his moments of heated exchange with his brother Primarchs, including Curze's clash with the Primarch of the Raven Guard, Corvus Corax, during the Carinae Retribution. The relationship between Sevatarian and his Genefather would be laced with tensions regarding their innate psychic abilities, for his Primarch had seen a vision of the death of Jago, though would not divulge the details of his demise. Siding with his Primarch as his closest counsel, Jago would endorse the destruction of their homeworld of Nostromo. For the 8th Legion had left for the Great Crusade, and on their return, found their homeworld to be overrun with crime and corruptions once more that had once been quelled by the Night Haunter. Despite the protestations of other legionaries within the Night Lords, such as Lord Commander Sheng, the Night Lord's fleet would bombard Nostromo, fracturing the Legion and causing mutinies across multiple ships of the 8th Legion's fleet. Mutinies which Jago and his elite Terminator First Company, the Atramentar, would brutally and mercilessly exterminate. The treachery of the Night Lords would continue with their involvement in the Horus Heresy. Their alliances with the traitorous Iron Warriors, Word Bearers, and Alpha Legion beginning with their deployment during the Istvan V Dropside Massacre. Amongst other notable legionaries such as Argol Tal of the Gal Vorbak, Jago would be present during the speech orated by Primarch of the Word Bearers, Lorgar Aurelian. Such was the prowess of the Urizen's words, Sevatar would utter his infamous remark, "Death to the false Emperor," setting in motion the war cry that would resound for millennia amongst the cursed voices of untold millions of heretics throughout the stars. Prior to the Night Lord's intervention at the Battle of Istvan, Sevatar would treat his now allied cousin Astartes with respect. Yet as the battles waged on the surface of Istvan V, the Night Lords would observe the corruption of the Gal Vorbak and Argol Tal firsthand. Recoiling at the demon host transformations, Sevatar would become openly hostile to his new allies, viewing them rightly as abominations to life itself, and giving credence to his renegade legion's aversion and transformative degenerations of the ruinous powers. With the Night Lord's slaughter of the loyalist legions of the Salamanders, Iron Hands and Raven Guard, they would seek a new foe to bring to heel. The proud and stern disciples of Primarch Lionel Johnson, the Dark Angels. Instigating the Framas Crusade, the Night Lords would crush several industrial forge worlds and ill-equipped human forces within the eastern fringes of space. With the arrival of the Dark Angels, many bloody engagements would be fought. Sevatar would injure the Dark Angels' chapter master, Alahos, during battle, mockingly promising to one day kill him and use his head as a trophy of war before they would both retreat the field. In light of the stalemate of battles, the Night Lords would offer a parley to the Primarch of the First Legion. The Lion and Night Haunter would travel with 2 bodyguards and meet on the surface of the planet Sagwalza. The Lion accompanied by Master Alahos and Paladin Corswain, whilst Kurz would bring Sevatar and his Huskarl, Sheng. The bodyguards would trade insults, Corswain insinuating that Sevatar's mother had laid with Nostraman pigs. Not rising to the bait, Sevatar and Corswain would converse on his newly painted Sinner's red gauntlets. The death mark Sevatar had been given since his involvement at the massacre of Istvan V. The parley would ultimately be broken as Konrad Curze would call into question the Lion's loyalty to the Imperium. Both Primarchs and their Astartes champions would battle. Sevatar would slay Alahos, yet his Dark Angel's battle brother, Corswain, would save the life of the Lion, impaling the Primarch of the Night Lords through the spine with his sword. Reinforcements of both legions would rush to their respective Primarch's aid, dragging both from the engagement, bloodied but alive. With time, Konrad Curze would heal from his injuries on Sagwalza, re-engaging the Dark Angel's forces across the remainder of the Framas Crusade. Ambushed at Sheol, the Night Lords would be undone by a final push from the First Legion. Organizing the Night Lord's flagship, Nightfall, to cover his legion's retreat, Sevatar would command the Nightfall to aid in his legion's evacuation. With his Primarch injured and in a dormant state, Sevatar would form a new Chiroptera Guard and divide the remnants of the Night Lord's Legion into 5 great companies, allowing the 8th Legion to organize and execute independent campaigns across the stars without the intervention of Legion Command or their Primarch's permission. Harnessing his own psychic powers, Sevatar would attempt to reawaken the Night Haunter. Entering Konrad Curze's mind, Sevatar would be violently expelled from his Genefather's psyche. Realizing upon his attempt to awaken his Primarch that his forces had been discovered by the Dark Angel's Legion, Sevatar would muster his remaining forces to combat the First Legion. During the slaughter, Curze would awaken and order Sevatar to accompany him with his new Atramentar to board the Dark Angel's flagship, the Invincible Reason, and face Primarch Lionel Johnson directly. Yet Sevatar's now unlocked psychic abilities would adversely affect the captain of the First Company. Losing consciousness during this skirmish with the Dark Angels, the Atramentar and their Primarch would be captured. Imprisoned and suffering from his psychic whiplash, Sevatar would languish within the bowels of the Invincible Reason. Believing himself to be dying, Sevatar would be aided by the compassionate astropath aboard the Dark Angel's flagship, Altani. Easing his burden, the astropath would prevent his psychic powers from killing him, an act of kindness that would lead to her spine being broken by the Dark Angel's master of the choir, an act which would enrage the caged Sevatar. Escaping during the prisoner transfer to the transport ship, the Remnant of Brotherhood, Sevatar would escape and murder the master of the choir. Reveling in a mad tirade, "I am justice, I am judgment, I am punishment." His fate thereafter has been lost to history. His stature as first captain of the Night Lords succeeded by Sao Sahal, a Terran-born Astartes of the 8th Legion. The Atramentar would dissolve with his absence, with no Astartes of the Legion able to live up to his reputation or skill in battle. The Night Lords would acknowledge his death, despite no record of his ultimate fate. Like many aspects of the Prince of Crow's life, even his end would be shrouded in mystery. Yet in hushed murmurs across the bleakest corners of the Imperium, some madmen and heretics believe the man known as Sevatar to still live, though such a prospect is unlikely, much to the relief of the Imperium. The wolves kill cleanly, and we do not. They also kill quickly, and we have neither done that either. They fight, they win, and they stalk back to their ships with their tails held high. If they were ever ordered to destroy another legion, they would do it by hurling warrior against warrior, seeking to grind their enemies down with the admirable delusions of the noble savage. If we were ever ordered to assault another legion, we would virus bomb their recruitment worlds, slaughter their serfs and slaves, poison their gene seed repositories, and spend the next dozen decades watching them die slow, humiliating deaths. Night after night, raid after raid, we'd overwhelm stragglers from their fleets and bleach their skulls to hang from our armor, until none remained. But that isn't the quick execution the Emperor needs, is it? The wolves go for the throat. We go for the eyes, then the tongue, then the hands, then the feet. Then we skin the crippled remains and offer it as an example to any still bearing witness. The wolves were warriors before they became soldiers. We were murderers first, last, and always. This has been a tale of the great Imperium of Man, read by the Remembrancer. This transmission was chosen by the members of the Imperial Chroniclers. Should you wish to cast your vote on future transmissions, join us using the link in this transmission's description. For their voice, and yours, is integral to the continuation of the Imperium's history.